1, and we're live. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. We are talking about financial anxiety in turbulent times with Dawn Dahlby. Did I say your last name properly?
Perfect.
Good. CFP, Certified Financial Planner, who manages the wealth of high net worth individuals. She is the self-proclaimed first behavioral financial advisor and the founder and president of, how do you say your financial group's name?
I want to embarrass you. You try it. No, it's Relevé.
Relevé. Oh, I was going to say
Yes.
that. I was going to say it.
Yeah.
A multi-million-dollar advisory firm. And we are live right now on Clubhouse, YouTube, NWOR every Saturday and Sunday at 9. So as a fiduciary with over 20 years experience, you look too young to have 20 years experience. Dawn has not only led her clients from moderate incomes to affluence, but she has helped them become truly wealthy. Her proprietary approach helps people learn to save for tomorrow without having to sacrifice today by merging the most effective teachings of self-help with finance to create a focus on spending freedom. I want to talk to you about behavioral finance. I want to talk to you about turbulent times. But first, talk to me about your background, what led you into the world of financial planning.
You know what? That's a funny question. When I was 30 years old, I went from singing on a cruise ship, and I know you're going to laugh, singing on a cruise ship to just wanting more money and more life and realizing that I wanted like a different opportunity. So when I was 30 in a recession, decided to become a financial advisor with no experience. And I was broke, insecure, anxiety ridden. I was a mom of 2 little baby girls. And I just decided I wanted a better life for myself. So I became a financial advisor, and that was 22 years ago. And I just knew I loved people and I wanted more money. And so that's the story of how I got started in the business.
That's awesome. So how did you grow your practice? The first few years are tough. So.
Oh yeah, lots of tears, lots of sweat. I just decided I was going to commit. I was going to commit and not give up. So how did I grow my practice? I'll tell you, in that first year, I started in the business under the umbrella of Ameriprise Financial. And I literally took a stack of recycled leads, which means people that had already said no, that they didn't want to work with an advisor because I wouldn't reach out to my family and friends. I took those leads and did cold calling on every Saturday morning and just followed their plan of what I needed to do to get people to come into the door and become my client. And so that's what I did. I freaking cold called for a full year. And I was able to take that $18,000 draw they gave me, and I turned it into $81,000 that first year just because I didn't give up.
Great. Well, that's a good success story for first year. I think my first year I made, I don't know, 35,000 if I was lucky. So We'll see. So that's fantastic. So talk about your proprietary approach that is merging the teachings of self-help with finance. Part of me thinks like Tony Robbins. Are you getting people to walk on coals and say yes?
And fire? No, not yet. Here's the thing. After sitting in 10,000 different client meetings over the last 2 decades, I realized that as a fiduciary and a CFP, we weren't really teaching and giving our clients the advice that they totally needed for us to live exactly how we want to live. I believe every human being wants freedom. They want to be content, happy, secure in their life. And I was looking at clients' portfolios, and we were coming up with comprehensive financial plans. So we were talking to them about their goals, and then showing them what they needed to do to reach their financial goals through saving, through minimized taxes. You know the drill with comprehensive planning, and through putting them in the right investments. And then we got, I still have clients that were clients 20 plus years ago, and realized that yes, we grew their money, but it was like they were still missing. Our industry was still missing a part of financial advice that we weren't giving clients. And so that's when I realized that, like, what were we missing? We were really missing about teaching people to have this, what you alluded to in the beginning, is the spending plan, not just a savings plan, but having a spending plan, especially when people are in their 30s and 40s, where they can actually spend guilt-free and still save for tomorrow. They can actually live for today and plan for tomorrow. So that's the first thing that was missing in the advice we were giving clients. And then the second thing, which I'm completely intertwined with, is that I believe everyone wants freedom. And to get to freedom, we want life freedom and money freedom. And to get to freedom, we have to be secure with our money, but we also have to be secure with ourselves. And this message that resonates, especially for women, I think men need to hear it too. They're just not maybe as open to it, but it's building this, you talk about the self-help, but it's building this personal security and financial security at the same time. So you're able to achieve what we all want to achieve in life, which is living a fulfilled, happy, purposeful life. And that's really what my version of teaching people how to build wealth, but teaching people how to live wealthy. It's the WELL, wealthy, teaching people how to live a wealthy life and not downplaying the technical advice they need. We need to build our wealth, and we don't, especially women, don't need to be shy about that, but we also have to in turn build that internal security at the same time.
I'm muted. Talk with me through this real quick. So I come to you, I'm a client. How are you going to help my life, my purpose? Like, how do you do that? So it sounds nice, but pretend I'm your client.
Yes. So if you're my client, I would take you through a process called Own It, Earn It, and Grow It. Where, first of all, you're owning your worth, where you're distinguishing your purpose, your values, your goals, your strengths, your weaknesses, and really getting clarity and direction of who you are as a human being, which I think none of us take the time to do that. That's owning your worth. Next, we go through the process of earning the right type of wealth and earning the right type of way to elevate your life. So earning the right type of wealth. So some people need to they need to maximize their incomes. For some people, they can't increase their income, but they need to get more out of their income. So they do that by going through a process of, we take them through, how do you minimize your tax bill? How do you stop wasting money, right? So it's like maximizing your income. Or some people actually need to get better skills and knowledge and increase their income. So we teach them how to do that. So it's that income piece. And then we also, this is where the Tony Robbins, the personal development comes in, where, even looking at today with all the technical things that are going on with inflation and interest rates and taxes and recession and market disruption, all that kind of stuff is happening. But we teach people how to react to the outside noise. And when you have the tools and changing how you think and how you react to life, you're able to earn the next level of, like I would say, earning the right to live an elevated life. So that's where we teach people how to earn it. And then finally, we teach people how to grow it, which is all the CFP, the technical advice that all of us other wealth advisors out there give clients. Like, how do you save efficiently? How do you minimize your taxes? How do you protect your investments? How do you get into the right type of investment so there's low fees? How do you have the right type of estate plan? How do you meet your financial goals? All that technical advice is super uber important as well. So we teach people how to own it, earn it, and grow it.
You ever have people? We'll take our first break of the hour soon, but the question will be, do you ever have people who like kick back on the mental side, the psychological, self-helpy side of what you're saying? I actually like that. For some reason, I'm into that. I want you to break that down a little more. So, because I'm into that, because I know the technical side, but I want you to do a little Tony Robbins, walk on coals with me. When we return, so we will take a short break, and when we return, we'll be back with Dawn Dahlby, CFP of Relevé Financial Group. Did I say it right?
You did.
So when we return, and folks, if you like what you're hearing, call me for the 45-minute wealth blueprint. We'll give you a free recession guide and a bear market survival guide for free when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. Call us now 888-988-JOSH. And Dawn, do you have a book or anything you're plugging, or just your website, dawndalby.com?
Yeah, we have a membership platform on the website. Something for everybody. We have free resources. We have free videos. We have like mini micro courses all the way up to monthly membership programs where people can actually get into that program. And if they just want to build their wealth and they don't want to talk about the self-help side, we can just give them the technical advice. But if they want to take life deeper and really find out what their vision and their purpose and to live a more content life, we have that in there as well. So we have membership programs. And then, yes, I have a book that is on the third round of edits that will be in bookstores and on Amazon, and it'll be everywhere May of 2023.
Great. So we'll have to have you come back and plug that. So folks, call us now, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, with Dawn Dahlby of DawnDahlby.com. And I'm really into this, self-helpy thing. Finding your true wealth. It's funny. I was into this 20 years ago. Probably similar people that inspired you, inspired me. But I would try that with people from New Jersey, and they'd be like, I just want to talk about money. It'd be like, so how do you get people to, I thought it was important to just connect with people on a spiritual or a heart level where you kind of know their motivations, their purpose, because really your money is the produce of your work, your goals, your hopes, your dreams. Jesus says where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So there is, and many people, we used to do the relationship, the RDOS questions. You remember those or no? Which is kind of like that. It was, if we were to have a relationship today, write this question down. This is good. You've never heard the RDOS? That seems so that seems so you. So a guy named Dan Sullivan, everybody listening right now, write this question. It was something I would always botch it when I would do it with clients. So I stopped doing it. Now I'll just ask people, hey, what are your financial concerns? And just, we kind of talk. And usually we talk about life or whatever as well. But the questions were, you would have a client list their dangers, their opportunities, and their strengths. That was the DOS, dangers, opportunities, strengths. And the relationship was, if we were sitting here 3 years from now, what would you need for us to have had a good relationship? And typically that got some of the softer questions as well as the technical. Because people always say, well, I want to make the most, but they really don't, because then when they're losing the most, like now, they freak out, they sell everything. And really that's going to be the whole next part of this interview is how do you stay okay with turbulent times? So if you're not into the Tony Robbins stuff, you have to be, because it will tell you why you're such an idiot with your money. People always sell at the wrong time. And they sell, let's say you want to hit the sell button now, but when are you going to buy back? So the same psychological blockers that prevented you, people say, oh, I wish I sold in January. I wish I sold in December. I guarantee you 90% wouldn't have. You know why? I told people, hey, why don't we take some of this and be conservative? And those people didn't want to be as conservative. A lot of our clients were more conservative, but people have regret. They have a lot of their psychology mixed in with their money. So I think it's very important because people make bad decisions. So there was the RDOS, so I was into that. Then there was like a values and money conversation. But for some reason, I kind of dropped it because I'm in more of the Northeast, and people are like, what do you got for me? They're like, what do you, they slap me upside the head if I ask too many of those soft questions. But I do think it's important because people do not realize that their money has such an emotional connection to them. So what are the questions you ask in the first meeting? So, or for people who are listening right now, what questions should they be asking themselves that maybe is that softer side of financial stuff that you were just talking about, the Tony Robbins-ish side?
Yeah, first of all, I've been in meetings too, where you ask those softer questions, and the people, I'll tell you this, the people that are not open to answering those questions are the people that need it the most. They just don't want to talk about it. But you can't force that on people too. And I get that. So the people that don't want to talk about that softer side, I just start with the financial planning. We just go in the technical advice. And for years and years and years, I will just show them everything they need to do to maximize their money. And then the turbulent times come. And then all of a sudden, those are the people that are calling me and saying, hey, I'm freaking out about the markets, or I'm freaking about X, Y, and Z with inflation or interest rates. And they're the ones that have that emotional struggle with their money. So what I do for people that are open to this, because I'm going to tell you the technical stuff's important, but if you start peeling back the why behind the why, people need the behavioral advice. Every single person on this planet has an emotional relationship with their money. How they think about their money is similar to how they think about their self. So to answer your question, what do I do with these clients? Some of the first things that I do is find out what their core values are. You like you said, Josh, you did that as your second round. Like, I get deep in figuring out what people's core values are. And then what we do is we understand and we put together a spending plan, never a budget. I hate budgets. It's like telling a woman to be on a diet for the rest of her life. Like, who the hell wants to do that? But we put together a spending plan based on their core values. And then what I have them do is I help them determine what their real net income is. That's another conversation. But I allow them to take 25% of their real net income and spend guilt-free on their core values, the things that matter most to them. So that's the first thing we do. Is we don't just like, what do we need to save for your goals? No, let's have a spending plan so you can stop your arguments with your spouse or significant others and allow people to live for today as well. And we come up with a spending plan based on their core values. And then where they're spending their money that aren't in alignment with their core values, that's the money that we say they're wasting, and we need to get rid of some of those expenses. So the core value exercise is the first place that I start with clients.
That's great. Keep talking. I'm loving this.
You're loving it? Okay, yeah. So core values. And so like,
I'm your core values. So use me as an example.
So what are your core values? Do you even know?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
What are your top 5 core values? Tell me right now.
My top 5 core values. Here we go. Faith, God, family, freedom, financial success in business, and my employees, that they would be taken care of. I don't know if those are values the way you're asking.
I think they are. I love them. In fact, I was thinking your last one was going to be another F word.
I know. I was going with
faith, family, freedom, financial, and taking care of people. So to me, what I have found, most people share faith, like mine is spiritual, yours is faith. And that's my first one. So I love the fact that you have that in there. Family, for me, it's relationships, which you're telling me your family and your employees, like that to me is relationships. You say freedom, which I believe, which I said in the beginning, everybody wants freedom. Everyone wants freedom. And chasing money, just money alone, is not going to give you freedom. You need freedom on how you think and act and live. We need money for freedom. But if you truly want freedom, it's not just about money. So your freedom and financial would be, to me, how I would say it's your worth and your wealth. But those are your top 5 core values. So then what I would do with you, Josh.
Maybe I missed one, but I don't.
We'll come back. What do you think?
Mission, but that would be around faith. We like to support.
It would be around faith. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we support missionaries who go to the world's most dangerous places. It's kind of a cool thing for our company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's fantastic. But what I would do then with you is say, what of these core values are actually costing you money and where you want to spend? And then I would say, we would assign a cost value. Some of them don't have any cost, some of them do. And then what I would do is say, okay, based on these 3 or 4 or 5 values that are actually costing you money, You and your spouse or significant other can spend 25% of your real net income, Dawn Dahlby's version of real net income, on these core values in any time, whether it's inflationary time, the markets crash, who cares? Nobody cares. You can still spend 25% of your real net income on your core values guilt-free.
That's cool.
I know, it is cool. And it allows people to not be on a budget. It allows people to not feel limited today, and it allows people to live internally, and that's what's going to give them the freedom and security to live, because we all want freedom.
Yeah, that's so cool. I did this thing where it didn't really take off, but I did this thing with what do you call it, churches, where I wanted to do a better, no offense, but there are different core, I won't say the people's names, but there are people who do financial tips for church people, and they charge them, whatever, and they have a course, and it's good, not getting out of debt, not buying stupid stuff, don't spend money on a credit card, learn how to budget. But I always thought that was dumb, because very few people actually keep to a budget. It's like dieting.
Nobody.
So I came up with this thing, auto save, auto tithe, auto give, so you kind of, but it was more like 80-20. So save the first 10, give the first 10, and then learn how to live on the rest, which is 80%. That way, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, so it's similar concept. So I love it. I'm right up my alley. But I liked how you said it better. So that was good. But how do we get people to do that? Meaning, for some reason, the budgeters have won. Meaning, even though budgeting doesn't work, so nobody does it, maybe 1 out of 100 people, and it's probably the people who are going to be successful financially anyway. How do you get people, what'd you say?
Maybe.
How do you get the people to do it? So we would set up these things called the wealth coordination account, where somebody would have their normal checking account or just be a separate savings account that they didn't draw from, that then we met with once a year and we figured out what they want to do with it. But that took a lot of work, and people didn't do it as much as you would want them to. But that was one aspect, meaning a separate account that then, you almost set up like 3 separate direct deposits. How do you do it with people to get them to do this 25%? Because I love it. It's right up my alley.
Yeah. And just so you know, the real net income number is really, I believe there's 2 non-negotiables in financial planning, not in life, but in financial planning. And it's really like, we all get paid our gross income, and then we have to pay our taxes. And then we also have to save for the future. So your real net income is after you've paid your taxes and you've committed a percentage to your future. I don't care if it's 2%, 5%, 10%. I can tell you what you need to save for your future. But after you've done those 2 non-negotiables, taxes and savings, you get your real net income, and then 25% of that real net income. So you're asking, Josh, me how to do it. Do you set up accounts? You know what? To be honest with you, I'm not downplaying your question, so please forgive me. The how is easy. Anyone can do it if you set up a couple of different accounts or whatever, but here's how I position it with my clients. And over COVID, I was going to say, you're going to laugh at this, but I have a lot of energy, which you can see. And while I sat in my house for 2 years during COVID, I needed something to do. And I was like, I got to make a financial plan, a proprietary product or tool that's going to teach people the value of aligning their spending today, not just saving for tomorrow. All of our financial planning software, which I use, so I'm not downplaying that. I use Money Guide Pro, and we predict through Monte Carlo and all that kind of stuff of what people are going to have when they're 100 and when they're 70 and 60 and all that kind of stuff. But we needed a tool. So the analytics side of me created a tool that people can access on my website, which is my Grow It program, where they can start aligning their real net income into 4 different buckets: their saving bucket, their spending bucket, their debt bucket, and their, anyone that has charitably intent and they're charitably inclined, they can put a portion of their money away. But it's this tool, it's this interactive Excel tool that I actually made pretty and inviting for people to understand that they can actually just align their money in 4 different buckets and be able to live for today as well, because people want that. And so when you position it as you want freedom, you don't just want to sacrifice your today to save for tomorrow. But if you can save for tomorrow and plan for today at the same time, and you can do that in this new concept way of aligning your wealth and having this spending freedom, that's what gets people excited to do it. It's not, do you open up an account here, ugh, right? It's about, here's the tool that's going to make it easy. And this tool that I created, it actually shows people, oh my gosh, this is actually stopping me from arguing with my spouse about spending. This is actually helping me feel guilt-free in spending. This is stopping me from comparing myself to my neighbor or my friends on spending, because you're spending in alignment with you. And then it also shows you how to free up all the other crap that you're spending money on that does nothing for you, and either apply that towards your debt today or apply that towards your saving for tomorrow.
That's fantastic. And we'll take a short break. We're with Dawn Dahlby, DawnDahlby.com. Go there, get her course. Sounds exciting. I'm going to sign up right away. And folks, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. So you always love people. I always love interviews because you learn people, you find hidden gems. And you're a gem, Dawn. This is a lot of fun. So folks, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. For the free 27-point ultimate bear market survival guide. Call us now, and I'll throw in my 15 ways to save on taxes review. Free when you schedule and keep your no obligation review at 888-988-JOSH. When we return, we'll talk to audience questions. If you're on Clubhouse, YouTube, if you have a question for Dawn, maybe it's you're fighting with your spouse about money and you need some tips on that. Maybe you're worried about the market and the market turbulence. How do you stay aligned with your goals in these uncertain times? Call us now, 888-988-JOSH. Type your question in the chat box. We're live on Clubhouse and YouTube. And Jim or Ben, please monitor questions on YouTube where we're live. Give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back with Dawn Dahlby taking your questions on all matters financial. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, we're even streaming right now on the new app Breakout, which somebody just told me they're streaming the show on Breakout, so that's kind of cool. So we're everywhere, ubiquitous, Spotify, iHeart, wherever it is, give us a call. Don't hesitate. And if you have a question, you can raise your hand on Clubhouse. We'll bring you up. So let's talk now about anything on that you'd like to add before we go to the current state of the markets.
No, I think we're ready. Let's give people what they need to hear about what's going on with the economy and the markets and how they can weather.
The reason I thought the first part was so necessary is I think that's why people are so screwy. They don't really think through the psychology of money. So they essentially just sell at the wrong time. But go ahead. Yeah, let's talk about the current state of the markets.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about? I mean, there's so many things.
Whatever you want. Well, what about, so the market's down. How are you helping people deal with the impulse to sell at the wrong time or buy at the right time or whatever it might be? People want to sell. They want to hit the sell all button.
Which, by the way, statistically, if you look at when people sell at the wrong time, well, first of all, we all know that nobody can time the market. But when you sell, like if you are allowing your emotions, your negative emotions to get in the way because you are scared about the markets and you sell at the wrong time, that's going to, there's statistic evidence out there that the average investor that does that sells at the wrong time gets like maybe 3, I think the actual percentage was 3.6 annualized rate of return on their investments. When the stock market, let's even look at the S&P 500, has returned, I think, 9.5%. annualized rate of return over the last 20 years. But when you let your emotions get in the way, which you don't want to deal, some of you don't even want to deal with your emotions, right? And go down that path. But when you allow those emotions get in the way, you're getting a third of what the market is going to give you. A third. So that's why we talk about these emotional parts of building real wealth, because it's the one thing that's going to get in the way of you having your money work so extremely hard for you in the markets, and your thinking and your emotions are going to get in the way. You don't want a third of the performance. Like, who wants that?
Yeah, this is the data from Dahlby. Well, no, this is a bit wrong because it factors in the good markets. But yeah, they say anywhere from 3 to 7% when the market, this is from the Dahlby study, 30 years of average equity fund investor returns versus indexes, 7.13, which is way overestimated in my opinion.
Yep.
Compared to 10.65. So they're saying you lose. No, they're saying you lose about a third, but I don't, from my experience, people buy and sell at the wrong time. And then sometimes they just sell and they never go back in. So I think the real return is much worse. I would say you're right on there. It used to be 2 to 3, they would say, because it factored in 08 losses. I think this doesn't show this year. It only shows the end of 2021. But I think empirically it's bad. But, nobody knows the future. So you got to hedge your investment risk.
Nobody knows.
So how do you talk somebody off the ledge? They're ready to sell. How do they get talked off the ledge?
Well, I don't know about you, but here's the thing. I have to talk minimal people off the ledge, because we believe in when markets are calm, when people come to me, we have a comprehensive financial plan. And we talk about, in any market cycle, how your portfolio can weather all of the type of turbulence or all of the type of volatility. And I think that's so key. It's having a plan and not react to what's going on. Again, an emotional thing. So most people in my firm, they are not calling me. They are not calling me freaked out, because we have a proactive, not just financial plan, we have a proactive investment plan that has the right type of asset allocation. It has the right type of diversification, and it allows people, based on their risk, we all know this, the risk and the time horizon, and it's going to allow them to weather these type of storms. Now, when I'm going to tell you what's really cool, when people call me and want to talk about, oh my gosh, my portfolio is down $100,000. My portfolio is down 10%. Well, what we do, we have a tool belt, if you will. We pull out the data and show clients, okay, here's what the market's down. Here's what your portfolio is down. And we also know by planning and statistical evidence of potential what's going to happen in the future, that many people can actually take on more risk right now. There are opportunities all over the place in any market cycle. So for many clients, I'm telling them, you know what? Based on your longevity and your family genes or whatever, you can actually put 10% more into the market. So many times we are telling people, you take the contrarian approach and you put more into the market. Because I'll tell you, when you do that, you will have, there's analysis out there too, statistical data that says you take the contrarian approach, and when people are buying, you don't buy. When people are selling, you buy. And when you do that, you should have a third of the amount of return in your investments by doing that. So it's, again, we are coaching people, this behavioral side of finance. We are coaching people to make really good decisions based on the opportunities that are presenting themselves in this external noise that we have right now. And we have market noise. I'm not downplaying the market noise. I'm saying, okay, this stuff is real. Inflation's real. Markets are real. We are in a bear market. Are we in a recession? Maybe. But how do we look internally and go, what are the opportunities there? Because I'm telling you, there's opportunities all over the place.
So that's a good segue into the next one. Where do you see opportunities right now?
In terms of the market, there's opportunities in the stock market. There are opportunities in, the future of crypto. Not that I want to get into that, but that's a whole longer conversation. But there's opportunities all over the place, especially in equities. In this inflationary time that we're in, you got to have your money in equities, right? Or you're never going to keep up with inflation. There's opportunities in people want to be, away from emerging markets, or people want to be away from international, but there's opportunities. You look at the data out there, the US markets have grown significantly. Where is there an opportunity now? And things that aren't as efficient as the US markets. So there's some opportunity in international as well. And then for the older clients that maybe are retired, the fixed income side, I'll tell you, in our firm right now, by us making maneuvers and changes in the fixed income side, which is the bond side of the portfolio, we've saved our clients, I think the research we did a couple of weeks ago, 3% on the downside of their fixed income, because we are making changes in their fixed income side of their portfolio. There's opportunities all over the place if you have the right type of plan in place.
It's actually the best opportunity in fixed income in years, maybe like 10, 12 years. Bonds are going on sale. Annuities are paying the highest rates they've paid. Just incredible. Treasuries are the best rates in years. I mean, yeah, you got to look at the opportunity. It's great.
Yeah. And the bond market too, as many of us know, like it's really hard to predict and plan the stock market because it's so volatile and it's all over the place. And the US markets are super efficient, not so much the international markets but the US markets are so tight. But in, like you said, in the fixed income arena with, even convertible bonds and short duration bonds versus long duration bonds and high yields, like there's opportunity for a smart investor who's working with a fiduciary firm and CFPs and CFAs that are helping people make those right decisions in their portfolio. There's opportunity there. And Josh, you'll agree with me on this. Like, I think where people miss the boat, like just like when people miss the boat on not looking at how they're connected with their relationship with money, people also miss the boat all day long on their tax planning. Like we have a CFP in our firm that literally, or a CFA, I'm sorry, we have a
CPA,
a charter financial CPA, yes, a CPA in our firm that actually does our clients' taxes. So I believe like so many people don't look at the tax advantages and the opportunities that they can make in their savings plan and when they buy and sell. And like taxes are your biggest expense for most of us. Like who's not taking advantage of the tax opportunity? I have so many people, should I invest in crypto? Should I invest over here? You know what? You're missing the bigger picture, which is your tax bill. And where's the opportunity there?
Oh, fantastic. Be tax smart. So we'll talk about taxes when we return with Dawn Dahlby, DawnDahlby.com. She's fantastic. She's like the next Susie Orman, but way better.
Oh, please, come on.
But way better. That might be an insult. No, I'm sorry.
It was, but
I'm sorry. No, Susie. Hey, Susie Orman is probably one of the top 3 financial commentators of the last 40 years. So
I have her book right
although
behind me.
I'm not
so yes.
I'm not that into her advice. I think it's very limiting, but yeah, no, exactly.
It is.
So folks, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. Go to DawnDahlby.com to learn more about Dawn and what she does. And give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, for our 15 ways to save taxes review. We can talk more about taxes, since you mentioned to be tax smart is critical in these times. And also the impulse, what about retired people? They're 60, 65. What are you doing with people who are nearing retirement and really worried? I mean, panicking on the money, panicking on their money. Any other tips for them? When we return, this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial. And we're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. So Dawn Dahlby of DawnDahlby.com, CFP, and president of Relevé Financial Group. And we, let's talk about taxes. What are some steps for our people to save on taxes now?
Here's an interesting concept. So last week, I was sitting with a client. And in their meeting, and they were struggling with current cash flow because they are close to retirement and they have kids in college, right? So they have 3 kids in college, money flying out the door. So the cash flow was really tight. However, we started to talk, we were doing a financial plan, and we started looking at their financial plan, and they were their financial plan said they were going to be able to meet their retirement goals, but they were cash flow poor. And so I started thinking, what can we do right now to help them with their cash flow? And I always go, okay, let's look at their tax situation. And so they were lucky enough to have money in a non-qualified portfolio. And for those of you that don't know what a non-qualified portfolio is, a non-IRA portfolio. So over the years, they've built up non-IRA assets. And so this client was saving, I think, maybe 5 or 6% into her 401k. So I said, well, wait a second. What if we maxed your 401k? And then she looked at me and almost gulped and died. Are you asking me to put more money in my 401k? I just told you, Dawn, I'm cash flow poor because I have these 3 college students. And I said, no. How about this? How about you max fund your 401k between July and December? Now your paycheck's going to be nothing, right? Because we're going to take the majority of your paycheck and put it towards your 401k. Well, then what we're going to do is we're going to slide money from your non-qualified position over into your checking account. So what we're doing is, by doing that, I think we were saving her and her husband, maybe $6,000 in taxes for this year because she's going to put more in her 401k. We did that. Next thing we said, hey, we could also take some of this non-qualified money and take $6,000, $7,000 out and put it into an IRA for her husband. So we did that, and that would save her maybe $2,500 in taxes. And then we also took some of that non-qualified asset and opened up a health savings account, and took some of those non-qualified assets that are negative right now, where her and her husband actually had, they could write off a $3,000 loss from their non-qualified asset and slide that over into a health savings account. So we made these small changes that didn't impact her cash flow, that allowed her to save it was just shy of $10,000 in taxes for this year. And if you take that and divide it by 12, I just did, it was over $800 a month that they have extra cash flow in their pocket now for them to be able to do X, Y, and Z with. How cool was that?
Fantastic.
That's the power of tax planning.
I'm pumped. This is great. Come on, give me more.
And it's true.
Let's go,
it's
Dawn.
True.
I want more. Give me another tip.
I mean, it is. It's people I can't afford to put more money in our 401k. Yes, you can. You can't afford not to. 401k opportunities, healthcare, health savings account. There's opportunities with non-qualified. There's opportunities with some people that, I don't know if any of your audience have big bonuses coming in or stock options and they're being taxed on those. Well, way to offset some of that is putting money in a donor advised fund, where you get a huge tax write-off today. I have clients that work at Target, and they receive these big bonuses in the past. It's how do you offset some of that? Do a donor advised fund, and then you get a full write-off in that year. I will tell you from my from our tax advisor, he says the biggest miss people have in taxes is they're either working for a small company or they're an entrepreneur, and they're missing a ton of write-offs. I'm not going to go into all those write-offs right now, but there are a ton of opportunities for you to pay less in taxes, because I'm telling you, for some of you, you're going to start to pay more in taxes because the deficit the government deficit that we live in. And it's how do you legally play the tax? And we don't want to do anything illegally, but there's so many things that you can do out there to just minimize a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, that adds into, not hundreds, but thousands of dollars back in your pocket on an annual basis.
No, fantastic. Yeah, and that reminds me, we have the 15 ways to save taxes guide. We're going to give that to you when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. 888-988-JOSH. Also, Tom Wheelwright wrote a book. I don't know if you're familiar with him, The Win-Win Wealth Strategy. It's out now. Really good book. I'll give that to anybody who calls us. 888-988-JOSH. Goes over 7 different ways, anything from solar to, a lot of people are worried about energy costs. And it's a tip that I'm duh, I should have done this a while ago. You can get solar and the government pays like 35% of your solar cost. And then it's one way to help with the effects of inflation. So you got to think outside the box. And we're going to go to the Clubhouse stage. Does anybody have a question on Clubhouse for Dawn Dahlby of DawnDahlby.com? Okay. We have about 4 minutes. If anybody has a question, 3 minutes. Anybody has a question before we wrap up the interview? This is a lot of fun. Let's talk a little bit about, we help a lot of people nearing retirement, 50, 55, 65, in retirement, 75, 80. And the older you get, the seemingly more worried you get about the market because you think, I don't have as much time to wait. You know, when I was 50, I could ride out the market because I knew I had 10 more years till I retired or 15 years to retire. What about people already retired or nearing retirement who are really scared about this market? Any tips or volatility hacks? I have some, but I wanted to hear yours.
Volatility hacks. That's interesting. I would love to hear what you have there. I think the biggest thing for these retirees is that we all know that when you are pulling money out of your investment portfolio in a negative fixed income or stock market time, because we have our clients pull money from fixed income, and the markets are down, if fixed income is down, that can be detrimental to the longevity of your portfolio. So what we're doing right now, we're doing a couple of things in our firm is I'm having people really look at their spending. Like, is there anything that they can, and here's the thing, I'm a woman of like opportunity, but I hate limiting people, but I also like, I'm having them look at their spending plan. Is there anything that you can do right now to minimize some of the spending on things that you don't really need today, to help you minimize the withdrawals from your portfolio? I think that's key. Because I'm talking about if you continue to withdraw heavily from your portfolio, I mean, it could be years faster where you're going to run out of money. So we have people really looking at, can they minimize some of the withdrawal out of their portfolio? I think the other thing is there's some investments. So maybe this is some of your volatility hack. You got me thinking about that, where you can invest in, some dividend producing real estate that's going to give you a dividend check, that kind of thing. I think the withdrawals out of the portfolio, but here's the other thing. And I think a lot of people are open to this, is that I've had a ton in my client base alone go out there. And I mean, there's some opportunity to make some extra dollars out there and earning some more income. So maybe you pull back your portfolio from withdrawing from your portfolio a little bit and you go make some part-time income. Okay. And I've had so many people that work at companies where they can go back and consult. They can work from their home consulting, making $25,000 a year, $40,000 a year, whatever, to kind of supplement that income at that point. And they're happier. They're not bugging their spouse. Their spouse is happy that they're actually working. So I think, if you look, like you said earlier, like outside of the box, and you do little things with your income, little things with your spending, little things with a hack that your investment advisor can help you do with, making sure that you're pulling from the right type of investments, because that's the key. Then when you do that, you're able to kind of, have your portfolio stay intact for a lot longer period of time.
Oh, that's fantastic. One of the hacks we do.
What's your hack? What's your volatility hack?
I have many hacks. You got to get my book, Retirement Reality Check. I have it all in there.
Fair enough.
Volatility Buffer. No, but I'll give you some hacks. One is we've surveyed the market history data from like 1927 to the present. And we've looked at the 3 or 4 worst periods in the market, from the Great Depression to 73, 74, which is very similar today, to 2000 to 2002, to 2007 to 2009, to today, which could be like an 02, could be like an 08. I'm not discounting that. I think we could go down another 20%. And I go through those people, well, what would you do if you lost another 20% from where you are today? And they'd be like, I jump off of a building. Well, I go, well, that's a problem. Well, maybe you want to take $100,000, just put it in cash. Don't sell the whole thing out. Maybe you take that $100,000, and now we were telling people to do this last year. Ideally, you want to do this when the market's up, not when it's down, but you got to be able to sleep at night. And if you have $2 million in a portfolio and you can't sleep at night, you're watching CNBC, have 100 grand in cash. So if you have a volatility buffer, which is 12 to 36 months in the bank, could be in cash, could be in cash value insurance, it could be in fixed annuities, it could be something that you could draw from when the market's down, then you don't care as much about the market. So I think a volatility buffer is critical to prevent you from selling at the wrong time. So my volatility buffer is my biggest volatility hack. Also very critical is make sure you have guaranteed income streams to pay for your monthly nut. Meaning I think if somebody's in retirement, they should have a sizable amount of their monthly nut in guaranteed streams of income, GSIs, whether it's pension, Social Security, annuity checks, treasuries, whatever. And then that's paying their monthly nut. And then the rest can be in the market. So if it loses 40%, you're not selling. So I think you got to reverse hack people's brains. We help a lot of people over 65. So I don't know what your age group of your clients are, but they're very sensitive to any market volatility. A lot of our older clients. And so you just have to reverse hack, and then you could have stop loss strategies. You could have dividend strategies. You could have, a number of things. But I think very simply having 12 months in the bank, if you think, and typically in that period from 2000 to 2002 and 2007 to 2009, in the COVID crash of March of 2020, market drawdown was like 37%, 40%, depending on portfolios. It bounced back very quickly, relatively speaking, historically. 2000 to 2002, it took people like 10 years to break even sometimes. But if they stayed fully invested, it took about 2 to 3 years. So if you have 1 to 3 years in cash in the bank, I'm not anti-cash. If you have 1 to 3 years in cash that you could draw from, then you're never selling. So I think there's a lot of ways I think cash is underrated. Cash is an asset class. A lot of people don't have enough cash. So I'm a big fan of cash, stuff like that. But
the problem is teaching people and educating them and giving them advice that when the markets are up, they need to sell those gains and put that money in cash. And a lot of times, again, it's the emotional thing, like I'm going to miss out, the fear of missing out. I don't want to sell at a high, but it all comes down to the financial plan, right? Nobody should be investing their money without a solid financial plan. And when things are going really great, because it'll happen again, things are going to get better. Is it going to be in 6 months or 3 years from now? You don't know, Josh, and I don't know. We don't know when it's going to get better. We know it will get better because this is just another market cycle. So it's about having the plan. And when things are going really well, I even look at like last year, I was shocked at what the performance was. I was shocked the year before. I'm like, I can't believe I'm sitting here with a moderately aggressive investor and looking at 14, 15% rate of returns. I'm like, this isn't real. So I was having those clients sell and put money in cash. Now, did I have to arm wrestle them sometimes? Yes. And did I get, emails from people when things are going up and they're more conservative? Sure. But guess what? I'm the hero right now. And it's all about having that right plan and making those big financial decisions. When you're looking at what your goals are and how do you want to live today and tomorrow, it's not about reacting to the noise, because I guarantee you something, you will never win when you do that. So I believe you always need cash no matter what's going on with the market.
Well, thanks for everything. Dawn Dahlby, DawnDahlby.com. It was a really fun interview. And check out our website, DawnDahlby.com, DawnDahlby. Did I do it right?
Yep.
.com. So thanks so much for joining us. And folks, if you like what you're hearing, call us for the 15 Ways to Save Taxes guide and our volatility hack conversation at 888-988-5674. 888-988-5674. I want to thank you again, Dawn, for joining us.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.
It's fun.
Thank you all for joining us on Clubhouse and YouTube as well.
Thanks.